The Trump administration's policy on journalists and gender pronouns. Good afternoon, viewers. Today, we're covering a new controversy involving the administration of Donald Trump. The White House has announced it will no longer engage with journalists who include gender pronouns in their email signatures. This decision has already sparked criticism and accusations of censorship. Let's dive into the details. White House Press Secretary Karolina Levitt has confirmed that the Trump administration will no longer respond to reporters who add pronouns like he, him, she, her, or they, them to their email signatures. According to Levitt, such journalists ignore biological reality and truth, which the administration claims undermines their credibility as reliable sources. We believe denying basic biological facts is incompatible with the principles of trustworthy journalism, Levitt stated. This aligns with the administration's broader strategy to promote what it calls traditional values. Several major media outlets, including the New York Times and the progressive outlet Crooked Media, founded by former Obama aides, have reported that their inquiries to the White House are going unanswered. Journalists attribute this to the inclusion of pronouns in their signatures. This isn't just rude. It's an attempt to marginalize those who support LGBTQ+ rights, said one reporter, who requested anonymity. In recent years, sharing pronouns has become a gesture of solidarity with transgender and non-binary individuals, whose gender identity may differ from their biological sex. For many, this practice fosters inclusivity and respects a person's right to self-identify. However, the Trump administration views this as ideological propaganda that contradicts what it calls scientific fact. The White House insists on recognizing only two genders, male and female, a stance formalized in a recent presidential executive order. To enforce this policy, the White House IT department has disabled email functions that automatically prompt users to share their pronouns. Sources say this move aims to minimize ideological pressure on staff. Critics argue the measure is discriminatory. This isn't a technical tweak. It's a systemic effort to silence voices advocating for gender diversity, said LGBTQ+ activist Emily Garcia. Following his inauguration, Donald Trump signed an executive order establishing official U.S. policy to recognize only two genders, male and female. The order impacts government agencies, educational programs, healthcare, and even international initiatives. This move extends the Republican Party's broader opposition to expanding LGBTQ+ rights. For example, the administration previously banned transgender individuals from military service and revoked anti-discrimination protections for transgender students. In the coming days, expect articles accusing the White House of censorship and violating the First Amendment, which guarantees free speech. Legal experts are debating whether the government can ignore press inquiries based on ideological criteria. When a government picks and chooses who to engage with based on ideology, it threatens press freedom, said the head of the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU. This isn't the first time the Trump administration has faced discrimination allegations. It has previously restricted migrant rights, opposed racial equity programs, and criticized the Me Too movement. However, this scandal is unique in directly targeting journalistic professionalism. It's unclear how this conflict will affect relations between the White House and the media. One thing is certain: debates over traditional values versus inclusivity will intensify. Trump's supporters view this policy as defending normality, while critics call it a regression in the fight for equality. Stay tuned for updates. This is World News. Thank you for watching. Trump signed an executive order after his inauguration that established an official policy of recognizing only two genders, male and female. Let's see how it happened.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
The ink's still drying on the executive order that followed, titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government.
Unfortunately, women, I think, are being used as sort of a political pawn here, when this is really not about those interests.
John Harris Maurer is with Equality Florida.
These sort of attacks are about scapegoating a community and distracting from government's lack of addressing the issues that are really impacting everyday Americans and Floridians.
Trump's executive order says gender ideology permits the false claim that males can identify as and thus become women, and vice versa. It says the sexes are not changeable. Goes so far as to order passports, visas, and other government documents to, quote, accurately reflect the holder's sex, a reversal of the outgoing Biden administration.